Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going to completely flip how you look at women's health. We are looking at it through the highly logical, systems-based lens of traditional Chinese medicine, or TCM. If you've ever felt like your body's symptoms are just, random glitches, well, this framework is absolutely going to change how you view your own biology. So let's start with a basic assumption, right? When we think of gynecology, we usually assume it's strictly about those isolated reproductive organs, like the uterus and the ovaries. We're always asking, okay, where exactly is the disease? But TCM, it asks a fundamentally different question. See, modern medicine is fantastic at pinpointing structure and location, but TCM shifts the lens entirely. It looks at the holistic flow and asks, why is this system imbalanced in the first place? It treats reproduction not just as some isolated function, but as a massive mission supported by the entire body's network. Okay, moving on to Section 1, Projection of Life. TCM views the human body as a literal mirror of nature. Just like the Earth has its rhythmic cycles of day and night, or the natural ebb and flow of the tides, your body is a projection of those exact same natural rhythms. TCM calls this key dynamics. So in this view, a disease isn't some outside invader. It's simply a temporary deviation from your natural dynamic balance. Which brings us to Section 2, Women and Blood. There's this old TCM saying, women rely on blood for their function. But here's the thing, blood doesn't act alone. Think of blood as the cargo, the rich material foundation that actually nourishes life. And then think of qi as the engine, the driving force that physically pushes that cargo exactly where it needs to go. It's this beautiful team effort. Your spleen generates the cargo, the liver stores it, and the heart acts as the engine, driving the whole thing forward. Now, you might be wondering, how do our emotions hijack this physical system? I mean, we've all had that moment of intense stress where our period suddenly vanishes or is a week late, right? Well, here's the actual mechanism. When you get stressed or angry, your qi, that driving engine we just talked about, gets blocked. TCM calls this stagnation. And when the engine stops, the cargo halts. Your internal rhythm just jams up, leading directly to a disrupted cycle. Let's look at how this plays out over time in Section 3, Cycles and Stages. Instead of viewing menstruation as just a monthly bleeding event, TCM views it as a vital diagnostic window. It is literally a display screen for your overall health. It proves your body is harmoniously accumulating resources and then releasing them perfectly in sync with nature. But if that cycle changes, that is your body's early warning system flashing, telling you loud and clear that your overall balance is off. And look at how seamlessly this maps out a woman's continuous life curve. TCM doesn't view these stages as isolated medical events. No, it sees them as one massive, lifelong reallocation of resources. In adulthood, you've got a stable rhythm. During pregnancy, the body halts that monthly release to build a new life. Postpartum, that's a drastic system reset. And then, this is amazing, during lactation, the body reallocates that exact same blood and energy, transforming it into milk. Finally, menopause isn't a disease of aging. It's simply the body wisely retiring from the massive energy demands of reproduction so it can establish a brand new, stable balance. But what happens when things go wrong? Section 4, Deficiency and Stagnation. The first major glitch is deficiency. Imagine a flowing river. Deficiency happens when the body's massive investments, like during a really demanding pregnancy, prolonged breastfeeding, or honestly even just chronic stress, drain your material foundation. The river simply dries up. There literally isn't enough cargo to go around, and that results in deep fatigue, a pale complexion, or a painfully light menstrual cycle. The second glitch is stagnation. Using our river metaphor again, this is a river that has been totally dammed up. The water is there, but that driving engine of qi has completely failed. The blood pools, blocking the entire system, resulting in intense pain and disrupted rhythms. And here's the craziest part about all this. A single person can actually experience a dried up river and a dammed up river at the exact same time. Which brings us to this famous historical axiom about the postpartum period. After childbirth, a woman's internal river is simultaneously drained of resources, that's the deficiency, and blocked from flowing as the body tries to reset, which is the stagnation. It perfectly mirrors our modern understanding of that cliff-like drop in hormones. And that is exactly why TCM places such an intense, careful focus on postpartum recovery. So, how do we actually fix it? Section 5, Restoring Dynamic Balance. Now, it's absolutely vital to note that TCM isn't trying to replace modern medicine. If there's a severe acute infection or an ectopic pregnancy, modern medicine's emergency structural repairs are literal lifesavers. But once that acute crisis is over, or if you're dealing with chronic functional issues like irregular cycles, that's where TCM steps in as the perfect complementary force. It excels at restoring systemic flow and that all-important dynamic balance. To actually achieve this balance, TCM uses 4 distinct interfaces to repair the engine and the cargo together. First, specific herbs adjust biases, like bringing warmth to cold stagnation. Second, formulas combine these herbs like a symphony to restore overall order. Third, acupuncture interacts with the body's network from the outside, directly moving blocked qi. And finally, diet. This is the essential daily nourishment ensuring your body can actually continue manufacturing that material foundation. 4 different methods, but one unified goal. As we wrap up, I want to leave you with a question to think about. How would it change your life if you stopped viewing your health as a series of isolated, frustrating glitches and started treating it as one beautifully connected, flowing river? By recognizing that your symptoms are just a display screen for your internal engine, you can finally stop fighting your natural rhythms and start flowing right along with them. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer.